Hi, today I'm going to take a topic called as management and its nature, significance, or the principles in this demo class. Now, let us go and get started with the management. What exactly is the management? How, in the modern scenario, especially in the business, how the management is being used? Now, management, do you think that the management is a old traditional concept? Yes, it is. Management, even though it is a old traditional concept, today the management has been evolved. It is getting evolving around the time. So now let's get started with this management. What exactly is the management? What the definition says, and how we use it in the today's context. Now we all know, because of the technology, the management also is completely changing. So let's get started and see what it is. Now, the first slide says the meaning of management. Now, what is the meaning of management? Management, in simple words, means getting things done through other people. Now, it is as simple as that. Management means you should get the things done not only by yourself but through other people. Now, who are those other people? Means it is your employees, it is your people who are working for you in the company. So, you should see that the other people are working for you, the other people are working for the company's benefit, the other people are working for the organizational benefit. So, that in the sense means management. Now, what is this management? It is, in simple words, we say management means getting the things done through other people. Getting things done means the activity carried through the others. So, as I told, see, one person will be doing the production, another person will be rendering his services through marketing, other person will be packing the goods for you, other people will be recruiting the right person for the right job. So now all the people put together will work for you. So that is called as management. So in simple terms, what is management? It is getting the things done through other people. Now these other people will help you to gain your organizational objective. So this is the simple meaning of management. Now, yes, this management today, it is not only used in business. See, let us forget about the business. The management is a universal concept. The management is a universal concept which is being, used throughout all the fields. See, when we see our routine daily activities, the management is applied everywhere. Not forget about the business. Now, if we go for a temple, now the management is applicable in the temples also. It is an non-profit organization temple, but we can see the management presence in the temple. See, in the temple the management will be organizing all the particular pujas. The management will be very keen in organizing, or they organize the things in such a way that the devotees should completely be free and their mind should be calm. So those things will be arranged by the management. So this, we saw this in the temple scenario. Now let us go for a hospital. Now if you go for a hospital, in the hospital also you can see there will be specific people who will be engaged in making the people work. Now you can see various departments in the hospital. You have this dental care, you have this heart care, you have this diabetic care, you have this nephrologist. So there will be different departments, but once you go there, there will be this management who will be linking all the people. So all these people will be linked in order to achieve the company's goal. So their goal will be to serve better. So this service can be done only through the management. So this is the second aspect I talked about. Now let us take another example of management, how it works. So now management, in service industry, let us take example of banking. Okay, now if you go for a bank, now even though banking means, the primary objective is collecting the money and depositing the money and rendering of the financial services. See, there also you can see a organized management sitting. You cannot see them tangibly, but you can feel its presence. So it will be organized. If you go visit a bank, you can see the cash counter there, you can see the manager who will be seated in his department. So there will be lots of people who will be engaged in different tasks, and there will be a person to manage all those. So management today, it is not only applicable only for a business. In every field you can see the management which will be very popular. So that is the importance of management today. Okay, so now that is the importance of management. So management is, very very important aspect in today's scenario. So this is the meaning of management in simple terms. Yes, management is only getting things done through other people, the art of getting things done through others. Now let us move on. So let us move on to the features of management. It is also called as characteristics, nature, features. First, before getting to the points, let us understand what is the meaning of the features. So feature says that defines the subject, how the management is. Now let us assume, if I say a particular person, if I say describe this person, you will describe him. You will describe this person is very beautiful, this person is very tall, this person is very short. So that describes a person is called as nature or characteristics or features. So anything that defines the subject. Now the subject is management, so anything that defines is called as nature or characteristics. Let us go for the features of the management now. The first point says it is goal oriented. The first characteristics of management says that it is goal oriented. Now, always the management is focused only on the goal. Okay. Now, if the management is focused only on the goals, achieving those goals will be the main feature. Now, the management always strives hard for achieving the goal. Now, the goal can be classified as long term goal, medium term goal, and short term goal. So, now any particular management characteristic is to achieve these kind of goals. So the goals will be classified within an organization: long term, medium term, and short term. So when you try to achieve that, that will be goal oriented process. So the management is always goal oriented, it is always focused on the goal. That is the first point. Second point says management is all pervasive. Now what is this management is all pervasive? Pervasive means it is present everywhere. Pervasive means what? It is present everywhere. So management is present everywhere. If you visit a Indian company, there also management is working. If you go for US company, there also you can feel the management. So everywhere, anywhere you go, the management can be felt. So it is called as pervasive nature. What is pervasive nature? Management is being applicable universally. Management is present in all the types of organization, whether it may be manufacturing, whether it may be service. Earlier, I told the example of banking. So in the banking also, management is there. In manufacturing also, this management is there. So everywhere, the management is present. So that is called as pervasiveness, being present everywhere, universally applicable. Anywhere you go, it is applicable management. The third one talks about management as multidimensional. Now, what is this multidimensional? It is having, the management is having different dimensions. See here in this pic, you can see the management has different dimension, different sides. See, the management means you have to manage your work. Management means you have to manage the people. People means the employees. And you have to manage the operations. Operations means the particular work that has been done. So you have to manage the work. Any manager will have to manage the work. How is the work being performed? Whether the production is up to date, whether the machines are working or not, whether the machinery is under process or not, whether today you are able to produce these many units or not. So you have to manage your operations and you have to manage your people. See, if you leave them freely, the employees may not work. So what you have to do is you have to manage the people, you have to watch them, you have to rigorously, you have to continuously monitor them. Okay, today what will be the goals for them? Today, whether they have achieved the targets for them. So you have to manage the people. The next one is management of work. So now if there is a productional manager, so whether the productional manager is performing the work or not, whether the marketing manager is performing the work or not. So you have to see the work which is done, you have to see the people who are working correctly or not. You have to also see that there is an operation and that operation is carried successfully or not. So that is called as multidimensional, giving different angles to the work. So that is called as multidimensional. So yes, obviously the management is multidimensional. The next one is management is a continuous process. So what do you mean by this continuous process? Management is never ending process. See, management does lot of work. It does not stop anywhere. It does not stop anywhere. First, it does the planning. Then after it plans, it organizes. After it organizes, it does the staffing. After it staffs, it does the directing. After it directs, it does the controlling. So it is never ending. Once it does the controlling, again it will go back to planning. Again, this cycle. See, you can see in this diagram, it is like a cycle. So it is never ending. Once you do one function, you cannot sit idle. Next, you have to perform another. After that is done, another. So it is a never ending process. Okay. So that is called as a continuous process. The next one is management is a group activity. So management cannot be successful with a single person. A single person cannot manage all the things. The single person cannot do all the tasks by himself. So therefore, management is a group activity. So whatever the goals are, the goals that has been jotted down by the manager, so that goals can be achieved only by a group rather by a single person. So single person cannot do all the work. See, if I am a single person, I cannot do the production, I cannot do the marketing, I cannot do the finance, I cannot do the operation. So what I will do, I will maintain a team. So management is exactly a teamwork. That is called as group activity. The next one is management is a dynamic function. So what is this dynamic? Dynamic is not, you know, the management is a dynamic function means management is not static. It is always changing to the situations. That is called as management as a dynamic function. So any manager or any particular management which is run by any company, so it should be very dynamic in nature. So what is dynamic? It should be adaptable to the changing situations. For example, now there was a COVID situation. So now every organizations, every business concerns adopted to the work from home mode. Almost all the companies switched over to the work from home concept. So now the business didn't stop only because of the pandemic. So it was, the business continuously was running. So the management, what it does is a dynamic one. So it does not remain the same. It will keep on changing according to the situation. Now suppose if the government applies some rules and regulations, so because of the government rules and regulations, the business cannot stop. So it should modify. So that modification is called as dynamic. Every day it keeps on changing according to the situations. And last one is management is intangible. See, the management is purely intangible. It cannot be seen or it cannot be touched. Only the presence of the management can be felt. It can be felt very strongly. So now, because of the management, you can see the profits. Now, I will take a small example. Now, everyone will be very familiar with the Infosys company. So now, there was a situation where the founder, Narayan Murthy sir, had to leave the Infosys company. Now, because he left the Infosys company, there was a downfall in the company's profit. So immediately after a small gap, he once again rejoined the company. So because of his presence, the profits once again went up. So you can see the management is purely intangible, but its presence can be felt. See, because of strong management support, the profits of a company will increase. Because of a strong management, the profits will increase. So that is how the management will be. It can be felt. The management presence can be strongly felt. Because the management is watching, the people will be very cautious. So that is how the management will be. It will be intangible in nature. Then let us sum it up. Let us summarize. The characteristics of management are: the first one is goal oriented. You have short term, medium term, and long term goals. The business always try to achieve the goals. Pervasive means what? Pervasive means it is applicable everywhere. Management is applicable everywhere, and everywhere it is there. Multi-dimensional means what? It has different angles. The management works on different angles. So here the management will focus on managing the people, managing the work, and managing the operations. The next one, management is a continuous process. One line, it is a never ending activity. Group activity, the group activity means it is not by a single person, it is the group in which the management can be successful. Dynamic function, changing according to the situation. So the management always needs to change from the situation. Intangible force, it is intangible, it cannot be seen or touched, it can be felt. The management presence can be felt. These are the characteristics of management. The next one, we'll move on to the principles of management, a very important concept in the, especially with related to business studies, and especially with related to the management concept. These principles of management are very very fundamentals, and these are very important for any of the particular, and you can study this from different dimensions also. Let us see the principles of management. So first, what is this principle? So what is this principle? Principle is nothing but, you know, a rules, a set of rules, a set of guidelines to be followed. So now when you apply some guidelines, when you apply some rules, and you apply some thoughts, and you take an action, that is called as a principle. Now what do you mean by principles of management? It is nothing but a guideline. Principles of management is nothing but a rules or a guidelines for a managers in order to make their decision very effective. See, always the managers needs to take a decision. Timely decisions are very important. For that decision, they must stick on to the rule, principles. So that is called as the principles of management. They'll be sticking on to the fundamental rules. Okay. So these guidelines will be called as principles of management. Let us see this. And these management principles are given by Henry Fayol. So now Henry Fayol was called as the father of general management. Now Henry Fayol was the person who was called as the father of general management. He gave us 14 fundamental rules to be followed by any management. Now he tells that if anyone in the management follows these rules, definitely they can be successful. Let us see what are the 14 fundamental principles. First one, and one short thing where you can summarize these 14 principles. I have a particular sentence where you can remember these 14 principles very easily. It is: Dad, you see USSR, OIC. I repeat, Dad, you see USSR, OIC. So by this, we can remember all the 14 principles very easily. So let us see this 14 principles. The first one, it is division of work. Now, what is this division of work? Division of work says, according to Henry Fayol, the rule of management, the principle of management is division of work. Now, what is this division of work? All the work or all the task cannot be performed by a single person. See, if I am a employee in a company, I cannot be doing all the work. I cannot be doing the manufacturing task. I cannot be doing the marketing task. I cannot be doing the accounts task. All the tasks cannot be performed by a single person. So what you need to do, work should be divided into small tasks. Now, production will be undertaken by some person, marketing will be undertaken by some person, and finance will be looked after by some person. So like this, the work should be divided into small tasks. If you do this, it will lead to specialization. See, I will be having the specialization in accounting, and another person will be having the specialized knowledge in production. So if I take care of a single task, if I take care of a single work, it will lead to specialization, and I will become expert in this. So see, continuously, rigorously, if I am there in the production department, I will know A to Z about the production department, how it should be performed, when it should be performed, what is the rest to be taken, all the things I will be knowing. So it will lead to efficiency, productivity. So all these things happen. So that is called as division of work. The work should be divided into small tasks. So because of this, what happens? Because of this, there will be specialization, efficiency means ability to work without any errors and with minimum resources and no wastage. Cost will reduce. So all these things we call it as division of work. The next one is authority and responsibility. Now this is also very important. What do you mean by this authority? Authority means the power to take decisions. Okay, in simple terms, authority means the power to extract the obedience. It is having the power. When you have the power to extract obedience from the people, that is called as authority. Now, simple example, if you go for a class, when the teacher enters the class, every student stands up. Now, why it is so? Because of the authority that a teacher has. The teacher has the authority to extract the obedience from the student. So it need not be told every time. Whenever the teacher enters, all the students stands up and wish. So this is called as authority, the ability to obtain this obedience, power to take the obedience. So that is called as authority. The next one is responsibility. Responsibility means what? Responsibility means obligation to complete the job. Now, responsibility, it is the student's responsibility to complete his notes. It is the student's responsibility to read for the exams. Excuse me. So it is the student's responsibility to study for the exam. So it is an obligation. So authority means it is having the power to extract obedience. Responsibility means obligation to perform the task. This is called as authority and responsibility, and both goes hand in hand. The next one is discipline. Now, what is discipline? Discipline is nothing but obedience. When you are obedient to the rules, which rules? To the company rules. So when you are so obedient to the company rules with the subordinates or with your superiors, so that is called as discipline. Now the rule of management should be that you should be disciplined. You should be disciplined towards the rules. If the rules say you should be punctual, you should be punctual. If the rule says you have to follow this, you have to follow this. So that is called as discipline. So discipline is nothing but what? Showing obedience towards the authority, obedience to your subordinate. So that is called as discipline. The next one, It is unity of command. So very simple rule told by Henry Fayol is unity of command. Now what is unity of command? Unity of command says that every person should receive orders and instructions from one superior only. So now let us assume with an example. Now I am an employee. I am receiving instructions from two people. Now I will receive an instruction saying that you should produce 100 units. I will receive also another instruction saying that you should produce 50 units. So now there will be a confusion. So how many units should I produce? So because of this confusion, the organizational objective will be hampered. It will be, you cannot achieve the organizational goal. So that is, this rule says that that should not go like that. Unity of command says you should receive instructions from one single person. If I am an employee, I should receive instructions from only single person. So only then it makes sense. So that is called as unity of command. The next one is unity of direction. So unity of direction says every group activities should have the one hand and one plan. So now you had made several groups. All that groups should have one head, one plan. Now production should have one plan and one head. Marketing should have one plan and one head. Now all the activities should have one plan and one head for achieving the goal. So that is called as unity of direction. The next one, it is subordination of individual interest to general interest. Now, individual interest to general interest means this rule says, this is a very fundamental rule given by Henry Fayol. Now, he says the interest of an organization should be the priority. Now, while performing the work, you should not be focused on your goal. You should be focused on organizational goal. You should be focused on achieving the group goals rather than your interest. See, you should not work for your own personal benefit. See, I am working today because I will get this amount. So that should not be the case. You should work just because of the interest for your organization. See, if you are working effectively, because of that effectiveness, the company will achieve the profit. So you should not consider your personal goals here. You should consider, you should consider the group goals. You should consider the general interest. So that is the thing. The next one, it is called as subordination of individual interest to general interest. The next one is remuneration for employees. Now, remuneration is nothing but the salary or wages, the salary or the wages. Now, what is this rule in this particular remuneration? So, this rule says the remuneration should be fair and justified for both employees as well as the company. Now, if you are paying 20,000 to a worker, it should be fair enough. You should not extract more work and give less salary, nor the vice versa. Nor you should not pay him more salary and take less work. It should not be the case. It should be justified for both the parties. Even the company should be secured with the pay that they are giving, and even the employees should feel secured. See, I'm getting a good pay. For this pay, I have to do minimum decency, minimum justice to that particular work. So that is called as remuneration. So what does this rule say? Remuneration says that there should be a fair, the remuneration should be very fair. It should be totally, it should be having the justice towards both the parties. Which are the two parties? Company and employees. So it should be like, it should be encouraging for all the workers. If they are getting this salary, it should encourage them, it should motivate them to work more. So that should be the case. The next important rule of management is centralization and decentralization. So what is the centralization? Centralization means you have the authority in only few hands. So the decision making will be in the hands of few people. In short, centralization means decision making in the hands of only few people. So now, if I want to take a decision, if I want to take a decision, I will only take it. So I will not allow anyone to take a decision. So that is called as centralization. Now, decentralization is the opposite of your centralization. Decentralization means what? The distribution of power in more hands. Now, if you give the authority to too many people in an organization, that is called as decentralization. Now, excess of both is dangerous for a company. It should be not centralized, it should be not too much of centralization, it should be not too much of decentralization, it should be neutral. Okay. Now, centralization, I repeat, centralization means having the authority in few hands. Decentralization, having the authority in more hands. The next one, scalar chain. So scalar chain means the formal lines of authority between superior and subordinates from highest to lowest ranks is called a scalar chain. So very simple. The scalar chain is nothing but the line of command that you follow. So hierarchy, scalar chain is nothing but a hierarchy, the organizational structure you follow, line of authority between superiors and subordinates. Now superior, so it starts from the general manager, manager, productional manager, assistant manager, and the subordinates. So it should be what is the level of hierarchy that you follow, that is called a scalar chain. And in any company, there should be a scalar chain which will be prevailed. So there should be an hierarchy which will be followed. Everyone needs to obey that particular authority. So you should not break that authority. The decision or the particular following of the instruction should be in that line only. The next one is order. Order is, in simple words, I'm going to tell this. Order is nothing but scientific arrangement of materials, men, and all the things, people and materials. So when you arrange, when you orderly arrange that, that is called as order. So it is nothing but scientific arrangement. Now see, if you visit any production department, everything will be in order. First, the production department, after that it will be, the goods will be sent to the packing department, after packing department it will be sent to the warehouse. So everything will be in an order. And even the employees, first you can see the manager, next to him you can see the assistant manager, next to him you can see the subordinates. So the people should be placed in an order, the material should also be placed in an order. So that is called as order. The next one is equity. So equity is nothing but equal, being equal. You should treat all the employees equally. You should not do any kind of discrimination. Do not do any kind of discrimination in an organization. Always should be, you should be equal. So that is what Henry Fayol says in his rule. Everyone treat every employees equally so that there is no discrimination, there is no partiality found. The next one is stability of a personnel. So what is the stability? Stability is being the same. So being the same means what? uh, Once you select an employee, he should feel secured, giving security for an employee. So that is called a stability of the personnel. So giving him complete security in the terms of job and his position. So you should give assurance to his job. See, in every company, some companies follow this. There will be terminations. So every employee feels nervous. Every employee feels scared in working in those environment. So that should not be the case. The rule says that there should be stability of every employee. You should give job assurance. See, the great companies like Infosys, Wipro, no matter what, they won't remove any kind of employees unless or until the matter is serious. So they will provide complete job security. That is stability of the personnel. And also you can see in the government organizations, the stability of the job is more. You cannot see any termination. You cannot see, of course, there will be a termination, but it is only when the employee crosses maximum level. Okay, the next one is initiative. Initiative means the voluntary involvement of the person towards a work. The worker, what you should do, you should motivate them to take up the voluntary association with the work. The employee should be rigorously motivated to perform the job without any force. They should take up the work on their own interest. So that is called as initiative. The next one is Esprit de corps. This is the last principle given by the Henry Fayol. Esprit de corps is nothing but promoting the team spirit, harmony among the employees. So totally, you should promote the teamwork. You should see that there is equality prevailing in an organization. So that is called as Esprit de corps. So this is how we see the 14 principles of management. So by this, we end this demo session. I want to thank this Unacademy for giving me an opportunity to conduct this demo class. Thank you.